The following scenario by an unknown author demonstrates a very important point. The scenario is as follows. One day there was a farmer who had been working on crops for many years. His horse ran away. "What terrible fortune," said his neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. The next morning the horse returned, bringing with it three other wild horses. "What good fortune," said his neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses when he fell off and broke his leg. "What terrible fortune," said his neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. The next day, the military officials came into the village to draft men into the army. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by. "What good fortune," said his neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. Ladies and gentlemen, the above scenario to me illustrates how life is unpredictable and we can never really know how things are going to turn out. Sometimes things are going to go our way and sometimes they won't, but we never know if change is just around the corner. One of the harshest realities of life is that I've learned is there's always suffering. But when I'm feeling down, I look to examples such as the above scenario to assure me that life always goes on and that through all the most intense struggles of life, we can find joy. So what am I going to do in this short speech? I will give a few personal reflections on quotes which I have found useful. Now, look, I realize that quotes can be interpreted in many different ways, but this is just my opinion on them. I find that mindfulness is a helpful tool to help understand ourselves and how we interact with others. And the following quotes have inspired me and encouraged reflection and personal growth. The first quote by Albert Einstein, here goes. It says, "A calm and modest life brings more happiness than the pursuit of success combined with constant restlessness." And to me, this is a very powerful and interesting quote because it means that too often in the world, we're caught up in this rat race, struggling to get ahead, be the best CEO or high power worker and make a lot of money. In the past, I felt at times disappointed in myself that I couldn't reach these staggeringly high expectations that all the other people around me seem to be aspiring to. However, what I can also reflect on from this quote is that it's not just people who are most ahead in the rat race who have the most personal happiness. And this is a profound realization. I've got an image in my mind when I think of this quote. For me personally, it is of a man in a far-off land, perhaps in Italy, who lives simply on a farm growing olives, and yet is surrounded by family and those who love and care for him. And he is content with what he has. This situation speaks well, as often I think it's the simple things in life that bring us the most happiness and the most basic important things such as family and joy, rather than aspiring to great ideals of being the next CEO or doctor or lawyer. So I think that's something that is useful for me to bear in mind as I head forward towards middle age and into my later years. The second quote is from Max Ehrmann, which reads, "Whether or not it is clear to you, no doubts the universe is unfolding as it should." Now, this is a really interesting one. At first, when I read this quote, I didn't really know what it meant all that much. But now, as I've taken time to think about it, I actually believe it's really, really meaningful, and it's something that we can all take to heart. I take this to mean that we are all part of the grand master plan. Things are unfolding the way they should, and we should not worry about things that we cannot control. So many things occur in this world and are beyond our control. There's conflict, there's tough issues, there's environmental change, there's things that are very hard to resolve. There's melting ice caps, but I take this quote to mean focus on the present moment. Focus on our immediate surroundings of what we can have control over. And if I do that, I can be at peace knowing that my existence is all part of the grand plan and not get too unnecessarily anxious about all the things that are going on in this world, which I may not be able to have any influence over whatsoever. So I think that's very profound and meaningful. The third quote is, and this one I love the best, it's from Helen Keller, and it goes, "Although the world is full of suffering, It is also full of the overcoming of suffering. Don't you just love that quote? Too often we find the media and others all around us bombarding us with horrific stories of what's going on and the problems we're faced with. But what's unfortunately not so often reported on is that the world is often full of heroic acts and people overcoming obstacles and moving forward to deal with problems and survive their issues and go forward to live a better life. The world is also full of that. So the media, it seems too often, and people around us just report on the negative side. What if we could have a channel just dedicated to the positive aspects of things that are going on around us? Wouldn't that enable us to see that life is not so bad, that for everyone who goes through a hard time in life is also someone who's worked through that hard time and has moved forward to live a better life? So, ladies and gentlemen, here I am in the here and now. Often, I must admit, life has not been easy. Sure, in many ways, people like me, growing up in the countries like New Zealand, which we like to think are progressive and modern, life has been privileged. But like everyone, life has also been full of challenges. However, from mindfulness and quotes such as these, I'm hoping to gain insight into the world around us and be aware of the wonders and the joys of life on an everlasting quest for wisdom and peace. Thank you for listening to my speech today. I hope perhaps it has influenced you and you have gained insight from it in some way. Thank you.